Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute gnome cat. If you want to know how to make him, stick around. I'll show you how. And if you want to see future videos like this, be sure and subscribe, like, and ring that bell so I can notify you when I have a new video. Alright, let's get started. You're going to need 2 colors of faux fur. You're going to need some felt, a pool noodle, some stuffing, some craft foam, and a pattern. Alright, first thing you're going to do is make sure that your faux fur is facing the right way before you cut it. You want to make sure it is facing downward. We're going to go ahead and cut it out. Now don't go by the pattern that you see right here because I did make some adjustments to the size. It's not going to be 6 by 8 anymore. It's going to be 5 3/4 by 8. So go ahead and cut that out. Cut only behind the faux fur only, not through the faux fur. And then we're going to go ahead and cut our centerpiece, our accent piece. And you can use any color faux fur you want. I am using gray and white. And you can use whatever you like. And go ahead and cut that insert out. Make sure that your faux fur is facing the correct way. You want it on a downward slope, and we're cutting just behind the faux fur only. And then we're going to go ahead and cut out his nose, just a round circle, same color as the accent piece, and that is going to be a 2.5 inch circle. And go ahead and get that cut out, and then we're going to go ahead and clean off our faux fur, get all that excess hair off of there so that we can work with it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and assemble it. We're going to go ahead and take our center of our big piece, mark it, and we are going to lay our white accent piece on it, and we're going to comb outwards around it so that we can cut that center piece out. You do want to do this, otherwise you will have too much fur in the center there. So just go ahead and comb it straight out like that, and we are going to cut out that middle section once we get that determined. All right, now go ahead and lift those pieces up in the center, and we're just going to take our scissors and cut right down through the center of that just to get that all out of there so that that center accent piece will lay flush. Okay, then we're going to find our center piece again. Go ahead and mark it, and we are going to line up our center accent piece to that middle piece, and then we're going to move all that hair away so that we can get that glued in. We're just going to attach glue to the very back of that, and we're going to glue that straight down. And once you get that glued in, we're going to go ahead and go around the edges of it just to make sure it's glued in really, really well so that when we comb it, it's all laying flat. So just go ahead and take that pin out and go ahead and attach the rest of the glue to get that to lay flush. And if you don't want to do an accent piece, you can skip this piece completely and just have it all one color. It's totally your choice. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do our nose. We're taking a circle, and we're going to go all the way around it with the needle and thread. We're going to go in about 1/4 inch stitches all the way around because we are going to make a casing that we are going to fill with polyfill. And that way he'll have some definition on his face. Okay, now that we got that stitched all the way around, we're going to go ahead and put our polyfill in there, and then we are going to pull that casing tight and tie that off. And it will be a little bit of snug fit on there, so you may want somebody to help hold it, kind of like you're tying a ribbon around a package and they put their finger there, because it was a little bit of struggle once I got it so full of that polyfill to get it tied tight. And go ahead and tie that off, and you will see a little bit of polyfill if you don't get it tight enough, but don't worry about that because once you get that all glued onto the body, you'll never even see it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to build our body. We're going to pull our fur in on both sides because we don't want to get that glued in. If you pull it forward, then once you get it all glued together and you comb it back out, you'll never even see where your seam was. So go ahead and pull that all the way in, and then we're going to start gluing that right down the side. Just put a little bit of glue right down the side. Go ahead and squeeze that shut all the way down. And kind of check your fur. Just kind of make sure it is still in there. You don't want any of it sticking outside of that casing. And once we get that all glued in, we're going to take a ribbon and glue it on top. I didn't show you at the beginning that you need a ribbon, but I decided to do it at the last minute. Just take that ribbon and then just glue a zigzag all the way down, and this will help reinforce it. And then put that and glue it down. Okay, we're going to put that aside, and then we're going to go ahead and cut out his base. This is a 3-inch felt circle that we're cutting out, and it's going to go on the very, very bottom. And if you didn't want to use a noodle, you could use a sock at this point. Just make sure that you fill it pretty full with polyfill. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take our noodle and we're going to put it inside of our body. Pull it all the way down to the bottom, and then we're going to put some glue all the way around the bottom to hold that in. It's a little bit big down at the bottom, but once you squeeze that all the way shut with the glue, and then we're going to go ahead and glue the base on it. Put glue on the bottom of the noodle and go ahead and attach that base. If you use a sock, you may want to cut a little bit bigger circle. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take our needle and thread again, and we are going to close up the top of this. We're going to leave about a 1/2 inch circle at the very middle, because once we get it all sewn in and shut, we're going to go ahead and put some glue down in the middle to hold it down. Okay, just 1/4 inch stitches all the way around. We're just going to sew up this casing, and then we're going to pull it shut. Okay, then go ahead and pull it tight, and you want to use a good string. I'm using a heavy duty string because when you're pulling this string, you don't want it to break. So make sure that you are using a heavy duty string. Okay, cut that off, and we left that little circle in the center, and we're just going to go all the way around and apply the glue and push it down until that hole is completely sealed. All right, once that's completely sealed, we're going to go ahead and add our nose. We're just going to take our nose, and we're going to go probably about about an inch down from the top and attach our nose. Just put glue all over the front of it, attach it, and then we're going to come in here and we're going to add our nose, and we're going to go probably about a 1/2 inch down on the top part of the nose and attach our nose. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our whiskers. I'm just cutting the craft foam at 1/8 inch thick, and then we're going to make them 2 inches each. If you just fold them over 3 times, that's what mine ended up being. But if you didn't make yours at 6 inches when you started, you probably want to go ahead and make sure you check and make sure that they are all 2 inches in length. And then we're going to stack glue them. We're just going to take the bottom one, put the glue on top, space them out a little bit like whiskers, put a little glue on top there, and space that one on out too. Let that dry real good, and we're going to do the same thing for the other side. And you can use anything you want for whiskers. You can use a broomstick or whatever you want to. And I wished I had cut these just a little bit thinner. So we're going to just come behind the very first layer of the fur, and we're going to glue those in. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the front as well as the back to get that glued in good. And just hold that there till it's dry. And then we'll come in and do the same thing for the other side. Just a little bit of glue on the bottom, a little bit on the top, and get that glued in. And then push that hair down on top of it so that you don't see it. All right, now that we got that done, we're going to go ahead and make his feet. We're going to use 2 7/8 circles for 2 of them, and I cut those out of felt. And again, we're just going to sew around a casing because we are going to fill these with polyfill just like we did his nose. So just go all the way around, about 1/4 inch stitches. And then I cut 2 1-inch felt circles to cover the top opening of that when I got done. So once you get those sewn all the way around and you make your casing and put your polyfill in it, then we're going to come back and put another piece of felt over the top of that, because you're not going to get that completely sealed up. Or I didn't get it completely sealed up. Let me put it that way. And then go ahead and tie that off. Get it as tight as you can. And make sure that you have got that tight. And then cut that off. And we're going to do the same thing for the opposite side. And we're just going to fill it as well, doing it the same exact way. And I probably put, just like a little ball size of, maybe a little bit bigger than a marble size polyfill in there. Once you get that tied off, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our 2 little 1-inch pieces and we are going to glue those on top. Get it pushed down in there really, really well, and then go ahead and glue it down. And we're going to do the same thing for the opposite side. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add some little claws to it. And again, I'm going to cut these at an 1/8 inch. And then I'm going to cut them at 1 inch. So just get each one of them cut. And I cut 4 at first. I don't know what I was thinking. They have 5 claws, so I had to come back and cut a couple extra ones. And we're going to put 5 of those on each foot or each paw. Okay, we're just going to glue a little bit to the top, and then we're going to wrap it around. But we're going to let the ones on top dry first so that we don't pull them off when we go around the opposite side. Probably about 1/4 inch is how far I space these, and get all 5 of them on there. And then we're going to add a stick to them, and we're using a 1/4 inch dowel rod, and that's what we're going to attach the paw to the body. Just come through the back. Now make sure that you don't cut your stitch. So just come through the very, very back, pop a hole in there, but don't cut through your stitches. And then stick that all the way through there, and we're going to glue those on, and then we're going to attach it to the body. Do the same thing for the opposite side. And then while you have that stick in there, you can go ahead and attach the pieces to the very, very back to finish off that paw. Just wrap it on around there, hold it till it dries really good, and then that will complete our paws. Okay, then we're going to poke a hole in our noodle to put these in. And if you use polyfill in a sock, you can still glue it in. Just stick a lot of glue in there. Just figure out exactly where you want those to be. We're going to pop a hole in our noodle, and we're going to stick those in. And then we're going to go ahead and glue them in. So make sure your hole is big enough where you can see it. Just hold it back while you got the fur opening there. Add your glue, and then stick that dowel pin in, and then make sure that your foot is straight up, or your paw. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Just going to figure out exactly where we want it. We're going to poke a hole. And I did glue the other paw on. I missed that part in the video. So go ahead and glue that paw onto that stick. Open that up. Poke a hole in there. And keep looking where you got that hole punch, because that hair covers it up pretty easy, and you sometimes you go back and poke another hole. So find that hole and glue it in right when you did it. All right, we're going to let that dry, and we're going to go ahead and build his ears. Okay, we're going to have 2 colors of inserts. We're going to have an insert color and then an outside color. And we're just going to glue that right down to that triangle. We're just going to glue the sides only, because we are going to attach this with a dowel rod on also. I'm just going to stick that stick in there, glue it down. And then we're going to glue all over the top of it just to make sure it's glued in good. And the ear sticks that I used they're 1/4 inch by 3.5 inch. And what I used on the feet were 1/4 inch by 2 inch. So just get that glued in there really good. And then we're going to overlap these. We're just going to fold them over and glue them together. And then we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Just make sure it's glued really, really well, because you don't want that ear coming open. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing for this side too. And there's a longer side and a shorter side on these, and the longer side is what's going to go to the bottom. So you'll overlap it with the shorter side. Okay, so once you get both of those done, we're going to go ahead and put them aside. And we're going to build our tail. We're going to take 1.25 inches by 6-inch piece of gray and 1.25 by 2-inch white. We're going to pull the hair up along the very, very bottom edge of where the fabric ends. And we're going to glue that white piece right down there to connect the two together. And if you don't want to use a two-tone, just cut your tail at 1.25 by 8 inches, and you'll get the same length. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and comb that out to make it smooth, and we're going to take our pipe cleaners, and we're going to add a bead of glue, a couple pieces of glue down the sides of there, and we're going to attach that pipe cleaner. And then I push it straight up. I overlapped it too much because I forgot to leave a little bit of tip for the end that I'm going to stick it into the noodle. So you'll need to make sure you have at least 1 inch overhang. Then we're going to go ahead and come down the side, and we're going to glue that casing shut all the way down. And make sure it's glued shut. This took me a little bit of time to get it going. I kind of made it faster a little bit, but you want to make sure it's good and sealed. And then we're going to come in and we're going to open it up down one side. And we're going to glue the hair together, but just a little bit. So we're going to come down, comb it out just to make sure you got it where you want it. And then we're going to open up that back area again, and we're going to glue the hair shut. That way you won't see the casing. It's just a little bit opening right there and right there. And we're going to glue right next to the casing, on the outside of the casing where the hair is. And then we're going to close that up. So just make sure it's pretty straight at this point. And that way when you comb through that hair, you won't see where that opening is at all. All right, then we're going to go ahead and comb it on out. And we're going to curve it around, and we are going to attach it to the back of our cat. Okay, so we're going to stick an opening in there, just like we did on the feet. Just curve it around there. And you might want to twist your two pipe cleaners together, because this one took me a little bit of work to get it in here. Had I twisted it together, it would have probably gone in there pretty smoothly. Or if you want to add a dowel rod instead, you could probably do that too. I probably should have done that. So go ahead and get your opening, put your glue in it, and then put your pipe cleaner on down in there. And then go ahead and glue the very tip of the tail to the back too. But I would go ahead and use a dowel rod instead of the pipe cleaner at the very, very end if I were to do it again. And then we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue in the very bottom and squeeze that together. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and attach his ears. And we're just going to pull those towards the front. So in the white area is where we're going to put the ears, and we're just going to space them out on both sides equally. So just pull that open as well, poke down into your noodle. And again, if you use a sock, it'll still work. Just don't put any beads in there because you don't want any opening on them. And he wasn't weighted enough to where he needed beads anyway. Okay, and so then we got that one in. I'm going to glue the other side in as well. Just make sure that this is an important part, so you make sure you get this part right. Figure out exactly where you want your ears, poke a hole down in there, and then we're going to glue it down. And that's all that's going to hold those ears in. You don't have to glue the bottom part of the ear to the cat. Just pull his hair up around the ear, and that'll be enough. Just kind of fluff the hair up over the top, pull it up top. And then you'll have a cute little gnome. All right, nothing to it, pretty easy. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see future videos, hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when I have another video, hit the bell. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it.